This audiobook reveals Metaphysics, the forbidden lesson, the ancient teaching once shared only in whispers. As you listen, the forbidden lesson will unfold within you, showing how effortless alignment, not force, reshapes reality at your command. Allow these truths to awaken the power that has always been yours. Metaphysics, the forbidden lesson. Introduction. In the hidden chambers of creation, where unseen energies weave the fabric of reality, a single forbidden truth whispers through the cosmos. The universe answers not to force, but to perfect resonance. This is no idle superstition or fragile hope. It is the secret mathematics of existence, the ancient science that underlies every miracle, every synchronicity, every destiny fulfilled. Your vibration, subtle yet sovereign, moves through the unseen realms like a silent beacon. It is the song your soul hums beneath your thoughts, the frequency shaped by your deepest beliefs and emotions. And the universe, bound by the symmetry of its own laws, must echo that song back to you with unwavering precision. Just as two strings tuned to the same pitch will tremble in harmony, your consciousness summons experiences that match its tone. The cosmic order does not weigh your worth, nor does it question your desire. It mirrors only the truth of your inner being. Thus, manifestation is not a reward bestowed upon the deserving, but a reflection of alignment. Effort alone cannot bend reality. Only resonance can. This sacred law explains why some move through life as though guided by invisible currents, while others struggle against unseen tides. Those aligned with their desire carry within them a silent harmony, a frequency so steady that the outer world has no choice but to conform. They are not fortunate by accident. They are attuned by design. And so, the path of power becomes unmistakably clear. Do not attempt to wrestle outcomes into existence. Do not strain to push reality into form. Instead, cultivate the inner state that matches the life you seek. For the universe responds not to the noise of your wanting, but to the truth of your being. When you become the frequency of your desire, creation flows to you as naturally as breath. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Secret Pulse of Creation. Chapter 1. The Mirror That Thinks. In a garden where roses climbed ancient stone walls, Eliza spent her mornings tending to her beloved flowers. She noticed something extraordinary. The roses responded not to her actions, but to her essence. On days when joy filled her heart, the blooms opened wider, their colors more vivid than any gardening manual could explain. Yet when doubt crept into her thoughts, the petals would curl inward, their vibrancy diminishing before her eyes. Through seasons of observation, Eliza discovered that her roses mirrored her inner state with unwavering precision. This truth extended beyond her garden. Every aspect of her life reflected the quality of her consciousness. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, acts as a perfect mirror, showing you exactly what you hold within. In the realm of abundance, Tommy's story illuminates this principle further. A merchant by trade, he noticed that his fear of financial loss manifested as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Each anxious thought about scarcity drew experiences that confirmed his worst fears. The universe responded not to his carefully worded affirmations or desperate prayers, but to the vibration of fear he carried. Only when Tommy understood that his emotional frequency, not his words, commanded the universe's response did his circumstances begin to shift. The law remains constant. Your outer world arranges itself to match your inner state with mathematical precision. The universe does not distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It simply echoes the predominant vibration you emit. This ancient wisdom reveals why some achieve their desires effortlessly while others struggle despite endless effort. The secret lies not in doing, but in being, in maintaining the frequency of fulfillment regardless of external circumstances. Sacred practice. As the sun rises each morning, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and settle into stillness. Let these words rise from your depths. I am already fulfilled. Don't merely think the words. Feel their truth coursing through your being. Let this feeling expand until it becomes your atmosphere, your natural state. Maintain this practice until the vibration of fulfillment becomes your constant companion. Watch as the mirrors of life begin to shift, reflecting back this new frequency of being. Chapter 2. The Whisper Behind Thought. The same law that governs gardens rules the realm of creativity. Witness Harriet, who spent years battling her artistic expression. In her small studio overlooking the sea, she would grip her brushes with determination, willing inspiration to appear. Yet the harder she pushed, the more the canvas resisted her advances. One morning, exhausted from the struggle, she simply sat before her easel and released all effort. In that moment of surrender, something shifted. Colors began flowing through her awareness like water, first a gentle trickle, then a rushing stream. Without planning or strain, her brush moved in harmony with an unseen current. The paintings that emerged held a light that no technique could manufacture. This is the way of universal mind. When you cease the desperate reach for inspiration, you discover it has been reaching for you all along. The analytical mind, with its clever strategies and careful plans, can only access what is already known. But true creativity, the kind that transforms both the creator and the creation, flows from the infinite well of silence. Consider George, whose pursuit of innovation led him through endless nights of calculation and experiment. His laboratory became a battlefield where he waged war against his own limitations. Each failure amplified his frustration until the weight of effort crushed his spirit. It was only when George abandoned the fight that the answer appeared. Walking home one evening, his mind emptied of schemes and strategies. The solution materialized with such clarity that he laughed aloud. The breakthrough had been waiting patiently for him to exhaust his resistance. These stories reflect an eternal truth. The universe communicates through stillness. Your inspired thoughts are not products of mental labor, but messages from the infinite, waiting to be received in moments of receptivity. When you release the grip of forcing, wisdom flows naturally, like breath. The ancient practice of sacred stillness. Find a space where interruption cannot reach you. For 3 minutes each day, allow yourself to rest in pure awareness. Do not attempt to empty your mind. Simply observe the thoughts as they pass, like clouds across an endless sky. Beneath the mental chatter exists a deeper current of knowing. Let your attention settle there, in that quiet stream where inspiration already flows. This is not meditation for peace alone. but an attunement to the whispers of universal mind. In this practice, you open yourself to receive what has always been transmitting. Your role is not to generate wisdom, but to become an open channel through which it naturally expresses. The universe speaks constantly. It is only our noise that drowns its voice. Chapter 3. The Frequency of Certainty. In the heart of a bustling city, Clara maintained a meticulous regimen of self-improvement. Her shelves overflowed with journals documenting every action, every thought that might lead to growth. She measured progress in check marks and charts, convinced that transformation required ceaseless vigilance. Yet despite years of striving, her deepest wishes remained just beyond reach, until one winter morning, while watching snow settle on her windowsill, she witnessed how effortlessly nature accomplished what force could not. The snow did not struggle to become beautiful. It simply was. This moment unveiled the sacred truth. The universe responds not to effort, but to the unwavering calm of certainty. When you know, truly know, that something is already yours, reality aligns itself with that knowing. This is not mere philosophy, but the precise science of manifestation. Just as water molecules arrange themselves into perfect crystals without instruction, circumstance arranges itself around unshakable faith. Consider Marvin, who dreamed of becoming an actor. For years he approached auditions with desperate energy, trying to prove his worth. Each rejection seemed to confirm his fears. Then an ancient wisdom found him. Be at first in the temple of your mind. Rather than rehearsing lines, Marvin began inhabiting the essence of his characters in meditation. He stopped trying to convince others of his talent and simply lived as though the role was already his. The next audition room felt different, not because he had changed his technique, but because he had changed his frequency. The directors saw not an actor seeking a part, but the character himself walking through their door. This principle extends beyond the stage. The universe mirrors back the vibration you hold steady. Certainty is not an emotion to be forced. It is the natural state of a mind at rest in truth. When you know that 2 + 2 = 4, you don't hope or wish or try. You simply know. The ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Speak the words, "It is already done," letting each syllable settle into your bones. Don't rush to feel differently. Simply repeat this truth until your breath becomes steady and your mind grows still. Continue until resistance dissolves and you rest in unshakable calm. This is not an exercise in positive thinking, but a return to your natural state of knowing. Chapter 4. The Cost of Doubt. In a small cottage at the edge of town, Lydia sat surrounded by vision boards and manifestation journals, her heart heavy with worry. Each morning she would write her goals, visualize her dreams, and pray for success, yet her desired reality remained stubbornly distant. The more she pushed, the more resistance she encountered. Job interviews led nowhere, relationships fizzled before blooming, and opportunities seemed to dance just beyond her reach. What Lydia failed to grasp was that her anxious attention to what hadn't manifested was creating the very delays she feared. Like a garden overwatered by excessive care, her dreams were drowning in her concern. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, could only mirror back the dominant frequency she emitted, and that frequency was doubt. This brings us to a fundamental truth of manifestation. Doubt acts as static in the field of creation. When you broadcast two opposing signals, desire and fear, the universe cannot tune in clearly to either frequency. Your manifestation becomes like a radio caught between stations, crackling with interference. The story of Alfred, a renowned opera singer, brings this principle into sharp focus. After losing his voice to nodes on his vocal cords, Alfred spiraled into fear. Each morning he would test his voice, expecting failure, and failure would greet him faithfully. It wasn't until he discovered an ancient breathing technique that everything changed. The technique wasn't remarkable for its complexity. It was remarkable for how it restored his trust in himself. Every dawn, Alfred would breathe deeply and feel the sensation of song in his body, not attempting to produce sound, but simply knowing it was there. He stopped checking his voice obsessively. He ceased wondering if healing would come. Instead, he lived as though his voice had never left, carrying himself with the quiet dignity of a master performer. Within weeks, his voice returned, more powerful than before. The lesson here transcends mere coincidence. When Alfred shifted from doubt to certainty, he aligned with the frequency of his desire. His unwavering trust became a steady beacon that the universe could clearly receive and reflect. Your manifestations await this same unwavering signal. Each time doubt arises, it splits your creative energy between what you want and what you fear. This division creates a spiritual static that prevents clear transmission of your desires to the universe. The ancient practice passed down through generations offers a solution elegant in its simplicity. When doubt clouds your mind, breathe deeply into your solar plexus. With each breath, whisper, "Thank you," for what has not yet materialized in the physical world. Feel gratitude for your desire as though it already exists, because in the realm of pure potential, it does. This practice transforms uncertainty into trust, static into clarity, resistance into flow. Let each "thank you" be a note in the symphony of certainty. You need not know how your desires will manifest. You need only maintain the frequency of absolute trust, allowing the universe to arrange the details in divine timing. The practice is simple. When doubt arises, breathe deeply and slowly. With each inhale, gather any uncertainty or fear. With each exhale, release it while whispering, "Thank you," for your desire as if it's already yours. Continue until you feel peace replace anxiety, until gratitude becomes more real than doubt. This is not mere positive thinking. It is energetic alignment with the frequency of manifestation. Chapter 5. The Law Within the Law. In a quaint artisan's workshop, Nora spent countless hours visualizing her pottery designs, meticulously planning each curve and color. Day after day, she pictured her creations winning acclaim at galleries, yet her actual works remained lifeless, technically perfect but lacking soul. One evening, exhausted from effort, she abandoned her usual precise visualization and instead lost herself in memories of childhood joy, molding clay beside her grandmother. As warmth flooded her chest, her hands moved as if guided by an unseen force. The piece that emerged held such vitality that it seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. This revelation unveils one of the most vital principles of universal law. Visualization without emotion is like a lamp without electricity. You may possess the most beautiful fixture, but without current flowing through it, no light emerges. Your thoughts are the blueprint, but your emotions are the power that brings them to life. The universe responds not to the precision of your mental pictures, but to the frequency of your emotional broadcast. When you infuse your visions with genuine feeling, you activate the creative force of the cosmos. This is why some achieve more through simple, heartfelt desire than others do through elaborate visualization techniques. Consider Walter, a musician who struggled for years to master complex compositions. His technical practice was flawless, yet audiences remained unmoved. Everything changed when his teacher suggested he stop playing the notes and start feeling the music. Before touching the piano, Walter began experiencing the joy his music would bring to listeners. He immersed himself in the warmth of appreciation before playing a single note. Soon, his performances transformed from technical displays into emotional journeys that moved hearts. The lesson here transcends mere manifestation technique. It speaks to the very nature of creation itself. The universe doesn't simply photograph your thoughts, it matches your emotional frequency. Your feelings are the construction crew that transforms blueprints into reality. When you align your emotional state with your desires, you create a resonance that the universe must answer. Ancient practice of emotional activation. As you prepare for sleep each night, settle into a comfortable position. Rather than focusing on the visual details of your desire, concentrate on generating warmth in your chest. Allow this sensation to build naturally, as if you're basking in the sun of your fulfilled wish. Hold this feeling, letting it grow stronger than any mental picture. Experience the emotional tone of your desire as if it's already realized. Maintain this practice until you drift into sleep, allowing your emotional frequency to broadcast through the night. This sacred practice aligns you with the creative current of the universe, transforming mere wishes into powerful magnetic forces that draw your desires into physical form. Chapter 6. When the universe says, wait. In a small coastal village, Pearl spent her evenings watching couples stroll along the shoreline, their silhouettes merging with the setting sun. Each day she crafted beautiful seashell jewelry, infusing each piece with love. Yet her own heart remained untouched by romance. She questioned the universe, wondering why love seemed to grace everyone but her. The truth whispers through all creation. The universe operates on perfect timing, not human schedules. Your desires manifest not when you want them, but when the fullness of your being has ripened to receive them. Like fruit that must mature before falling from the tree, each blessing arrives precisely when your consciousness has expanded to embrace it. Pearl's awakening came when she noticed how the tide transformed ordinary shells into iridescent treasures. The ocean didn't polish them through force, but through gentle, persistent motion. Time wasn't her enemy. It was the master craftsman, smoothing her edges, deepening her capacity for love. The universe's timing supersedes human urgency. When you plant a seed, you cannot command it to flower immediately. The seed must first establish roots, gather strength, and align with the rhythm of seasons. Similarly, your desires must root themselves in the soil of your consciousness before manifesting in physical form. In a distant city, Benjamin faced a parallel lesson. His manuscripts returned with rejection letters, year after year. Yet each no carved deeper wisdom into his words. One day, holding his latest rejection, He realized these weren't denials. They were invitations to grow. His work needed time to mature, like wine aging in sacred cellars. When his novel finally emerged, it carried the richness of all those waiting years. Benjamin's story mirrors an eternal truth. What appears as delay is often divine preparation. The universe withholds nothing. It orchestrates everything for optimal unfolding. Each seeming setback weaves necessary threads into the tapestry of your manifestation. Look closely at nature. A butterfly cannot be rushed from its chrysalis. Force it open, and you destroy its wings. Your desires, too, undergo metamorphosis. The period of waiting isn't empty. It's pregnant with possibility, filled with invisible growth. The secret lies in embracing the interval. When you resist the timing, you create friction. When you surrender to it, you enter the flow of cosmic orchestration. Your task isn't to force the river, but to align with its current. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to perform this sacred alignment. Sit in stillness and breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart and whisper these words. I trust the wisdom of timing. Feel how these words dissolve resistance. Let each breath remind you that the universe's timing is perfect, even when you cannot see its purpose. This practice transforms waiting from burden to blessing, from frustration to faith. The power lies not in rushing manifestation, but in trusting its divine unfoldment. Chapter 7. Turning Shadow into Signal. In the heart of a bustling market square, a skilled weaver named Maggie created tapestries of extraordinary beauty. Yet each time she witnessed another artisan's success, a dark shadow crept across her heart. She would turn away from these feelings, burying them beneath forced smiles and polite congratulations, believing that jealousy was beneath her spiritual nature. But the universe speaks through all emotions, even those we label as unworthy. When you resist the shadow within, you deny the very messenger that would guide you to greater light. Maggie's jealousy was not her enemy. It was a compass pointing toward her deepest desires and unrealized potential. The truth that transforms lies in understanding that negative emotions serve as precise instruments of guidance. They reveal the gap between your current vibration and your natural state of abundance. Like a compass needle quivering toward true north, uncomfortable feelings point exactly where your attention is needed. When Maggie finally paused to examine her jealousy, she discovered it arose not from others' success, but from denying her own yearning to expand beyond traditional patterns. Her jealousy transformed into creative inspiration once she honored its message. Consider the tale of Frank, a musician who harbored bitter resentment toward those who achieved fame while he remained unknown. Each day, he felt the acid of resentment eating at his peace. Yet when he finally embraced these feelings as messengers rather than tormentors, everything shifted. His resentment revealed his passionate dedication to music. It showed him where his soul longed to soar. By accepting this dark emotion as a teacher, he transformed its energy into powerful compositions that touched thousands. The shadow self is not your adversary, but your ally in disguise. When you feel jealousy, anger, or fear arising, you stand at the threshold of transformation. These emotions reveal precisely where your energy is blocked, where old beliefs limit your expansion, where you have stopped trusting in your own light. The wisdom lies not in transcending negative emotions, but in reading their messages accurately. They are the universe's way of showing you where alignment is needed. Each uncomfortable feeling carries within it the seed of your next evolution. Ancient practice for emotional alchemy. When discomfort arises, find a quiet space. Place your hand upon your heart and speak these words with gentle curiosity. Thank you for this message. Show me its origin. Breathe deeply into the sensation, neither resisting nor clinging to it. Continue breathing until peace returns, knowing that each breath transmutes shadow into light. Let the emotion guide you to its source, and there you will find your next step toward alignment. Chapter 8. The Sacred Use of Words. In a small town among rolling hills, a dedicated schoolteacher named Annie poured her heart into nurturing young minds. Each morning she arrived early to prepare her classroom, yet a subtle pattern wove through her days. Words of frustration and complaint spilled from her lips like water from a cracked vessel. "I'll never get through this curriculum," she would sigh. "These students just won't listen." Nothing ever changes. With each utterance, invisible threads of creation spun around her, weaving the very reality she spoke into being. What you speak becomes the architect of your experience. Words are not mere sounds echoing in empty space. They are vibrational commands that the universe receives and reflects with perfect precision. Your speech carries the power to bless or burden your path, for the tongue holds the key to manifestation's final door. Through every word you utter, you cast ripples into the quantum field of possibility. These ripples return as waves of circumstance, matching the exact frequency of your declaration. When you proclaim lack, the universe can only echo deficiency. When you announce limitation, circumstances conspire to prove you right. In the ancient marketplace of a distant city, a merchant named Oscar discovered this truth through bitter experience. His stall remained empty while others flourished, until a wise woman passing by paused to listen to his daily complaints. "Your words," she told him, "are seeds you plant in the garden of your life. Choose them with the care of a master gardener." Oscar began to transform his speech with the diligence of an alchemist. Where once he bemoaned his empty stall, he now spoke of abundance yet to come. Rather than curse his misfortune, he blessed each quiet moment as preparation for prosperity. Within a season, his circumstances shifted like leaves turning to catch the sun. The wisdom whispered through ages reveals this truth. Your words complete the circuit of manifestation. What begins as thought crystallizes through speech into physical form. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you declare with the authority of your voice. The ancient practice of sacred speech calls you to guard your words as carefully as precious jewels. Each complaint uttered is a spell cast backward. Each blessing spoken is a bridge to new possibility. Your voice carries the power to reshape reality. It is the final instrument in the orchestra of creation. To activate this power, begin now to replace every self-criticism with words of praise. When fatigue whispers, "I can't," transform it into, "I am growing stronger." When doubt mutters, "It's impossible," declare instead, "The way is opening before me." Feel how your body responds to these new vibrations. Notice the subtle shift in your energetic field as empowering words release their medicine. Sit quietly each evening and speak aloud 3 blessings for your life. not as hopes for the future, but as acknowledgments of what already exists. Feel the resonance of these words in your chest, your throat, your entire being. Let your voice become the bridge between invisible possibility and visible manifestation. Through this practice, you reclaim the ancient power of sacred speech, transforming shadow into light, limitation into possibility, one word at a time. For in the beginning was the Word, and in your words lies the power to begin again. Chapter 9. The Alchemy of Gratitude. Through every word you utter, you cast ripples into the quantum field of infinite possibility. This truth revealed itself through Junie, whose transformation began with a stack of unpaid bills scattered across her kitchen table. Each month, she had greeted them with dread, muttering, "I can't afford this," or "There's never enough." Yet on one autumn morning, something stirred within her soul, a whispered wisdom from the ages. Instead of cursing the bills, she gathered them in her hands and spoke with genuine warmth. "Thank you for the electricity that lights my home. Thank you for the water that nourishes my garden. Thank you for teaching me about flow." To her amazement, speaking gratitude felt natural, as though she had discovered an ancient ritual hidden in plain sight. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities arose. A forgotten investment matured. A client doubled their order. A relative gifted her an inheritance she never anticipated. The universe responded not to her need, but to her appreciation. For gratitude is the highest frequency of abundance. The law works with unwavering precision. What you bless multiplies, what you curse diminishes. Your words are the final seal upon your thoughts, determining which reality manifests from infinite possibility. When you speak with reverence about what appears as lack, you transmute its energy into abundance. This sacred principle found another witness in Clarence, who faced the departure of his beloved. Rather than bitter words of loss, he chose to speak daily benedictions. "I thank you for the love we shared. I bless your path forward. I am grateful for having known such depth of feeling." His heart remained tender rather than hardening with resentment. As seasons turned, love returned to him in an unexpected form, deeper, truer, and more aligned with his soul's growth. The universe had heard not his loneliness, but his blessing of what was. These stories illuminate an eternal truth. Gratitude is not merely a response to abundance. It is the very force that creates it. When you thank what appears as absence, you acknowledge the presence of infinite potential within it. Your words of appreciation become seeds planted in fertile soil, growing into the very things you seek. This ancient practice of sacred speech requires no complex rituals or esoteric knowledge. It asks only that you recognize the power of your words and choose them with the wisdom of one who understands their creative force. Each complaint, transformed into thanksgiving, becomes a key unlocking greater abundance. The practice. As twilight approaches each day, sit in quietude and select 3 challenges that currently face you. For each one, speak words of genuine thanks, recognizing it as a blessing still unfolding. Feel the warmth of gratitude in your heart as you reframe what appears as lack into an opportunity for greater abundance. Let your words carry the certainty of one who knows that every challenge holds within it the seed of greater good. Chapter 10. The Field Remembers You. In the quietude of an antique shop, Sophie discovered a music box identical to one she had yearned for as a child. The melody that spilled forth transported her decades back, awakening something dormant within her spirit. Within days, more echoes from her past emerged. A rare book she once dreamed of writing appeared in a window display, and a house with the exact blue shutters she had sketched in her youth came up for sale on her street. The universe holds an immaculate record of every wish ever whispered, every dream ever dreamed. Like light traveling through space long after its star has dimmed, your desires continue their journey through the cosmic field until they find their perfect point of manifestation. Nothing is ever truly forgotten, not by the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. Your thoughts are not mere electrical impulses firing across neurons. They are eternal impressions pressed into the fabric of reality itself. Each desire you have ever held exists simultaneously in what mystics call the eternal now, waiting for the precise moment when your vibration aligns with its fulfillment. This truth manifested powerfully for Vernon, who cleaned his basement after 20 years and uncovered a vision board he had created in his youth. There, among faded magazine clippings, he found images of everything he now possessed: the red brick house, the career in music, even the model of car in his driveway. He had forgotten making the board, yet the universe had remembered every detail. The wisdom in Vernon's story lies not in the vision board itself, but in the reminder that creative force knows no time. Your desires do not expire. They do not fade. They simply await the moment when your inner state matches their frequency. When you find yourself wondering if your dreams have been forgotten, remember that the universe keeps perfect accounts. Every hope you've held, every vision you've entertained, remains alive in the quantum field, ready to materialize when your vibration rises to meet it. What appears as delay is often divine orchestration, the universe arranging countless details to bring your desire to you in its most perfect form. Your task is not to force manifestation, but to maintain the frequency of trust that allows it to unfold naturally. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment to sit in stillness. Allow your mind to drift back to dreams you once held dear. Perhaps a childhood aspiration, a forgotten talent, or a long-abandoned goal. Feel the original joy and excitement those dreams once stirred in you. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words with quiet authority. Nothing is lost in divine timing. Let this truth resonate in every cell of your being, knowing that the universe has preserved each precious desire until this perfect moment of alignment. Part 2. Commanding the Hidden Current. Chapter 11. The Art of Allowing. In a small coastal town, Patricia ran her healing practice with meticulous precision. Each morning she would arrange her crystals in perfect geometric patterns, blend her essential oils to exact proportions, and time her meditation sessions to the minute. Yet despite her careful attention to detail, her own chronic headaches persisted, resistant to every calculated attempt at relief. One stormy evening, exhausted from another day of precise but ineffective remedies, Patricia collapsed onto her meditation cushion. For the first time in years, she abandoned her usual structured practice. As thunder rolled outside, she simply lay there, too tired to maintain her usual rigid posture. In that moment of complete surrender, something shifted. A warm sensation began flowing through her temples, dissolving the tension she had carried for so long. By morning, Her headache had vanished entirely. The universe operates through allowance, not force. When you release your grip on how healing, abundance, or love should arrive, you remove the resistance that blocks its natural flow. Like a river meeting a dam, your endless planning and controlling creates turbulence in the stream of well-being that ceaselessly flows toward you. This truth manifested equally in the life of Earl, whose furniture business had been his pride for 20 years. When sales declined, he responded with increasingly desperate measures, extending store hours, flooding the market with advertisements, and obsessing over every customer interaction. The more he pushed, the faster his business seemed to slip away. One night, after reviewing another disappointing sales report, Earl stepped outside his empty showroom. Looking up at the stars, he finally acknowledged his powerlessness over the situation. "Universe," he whispered, "I release this burden. Guide me as you will." The very next morning, an interior designer walked into his store, leading to a contract that would transform his business entirely. Your analytical mind believes it must orchestrate every detail of manifestation. Yet the intelligence that keeps planets in orbit and transforms seeds into forests requires no supervision. When you cease struggling against the current of life, you allow that same intelligence to work through you. Sacred practice. Find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, letting each exhale carry away the weight of control. Then, with gentle attention, repeat internally. Everything good is already on its way. Let this truth settle into your bones. Remain in this space of receptivity for several minutes, allowing yourself to feel supported by the invisible web of life that surrounds you. This practice dissolves the barriers between your current reality and your desired experience, opening a channel for grace to flow unimpeded. Chapter 12. Energy Never Lies. A woman named Doris stood before her bathroom mirror each morning, reciting affirmations with a bright smile. "I am confident. I am successful. I am fearless," she declared, while her stomach knotted with anxiety. For months, she maintained this ritual, forcing positivity despite the growing unease within. Yet her business continued to struggle, and opportunities seemed to slip further away with each passing day. The universe responds not to the words we speak, but to the energy we emanate. Like a tuning fork that vibrates in perfect resonance with its true frequency, your reality aligns with your deepest held beliefs and emotions. When you attempt to mask fear beneath a veneer of forced positivity, you create discord in your vibrational field. The art of allowing begins with radical honesty. You must first acknowledge what truly resides within your heart before you can transform it. This is not a call to dwell in negativity, but rather to witness your authentic state without judgment. Only then can genuine transformation occur. In a distant village lived Harvey, a merchant who smiled warmly at his customers while harboring bitter resentment toward his more successful competitors. He donated generously to local causes, spoke of abundance, and maintained an outward appearance of goodwill. Yet peace eluded him, and his business remained stagnant. One quiet dawn, as Harvey swept his shop floor, exhaustion cracked his carefully maintained facade. He stopped mid-motion, let his broom clatter to the ground, and finally admitted to himself, "I am angry. I am afraid. I am tired of pretending." In that moment of raw honesty, something shifted. The weight of maintaining appearances lifted from his shoulders, In the days that followed, Harvey began to work with his true feelings rather than against them. He acknowledged his fears about failure, blessed his competitor's success, and allowed himself to feel whatever arose naturally. Gradually, his genuine acceptance created space for authentic peace to enter. His business transformed not through forced positivity, but through the power of emotional truth. Your manifestations reflect your deepest truths, not your carefully constructed masks. When you align your outer expression with your inner reality, you create coherence in your energy field. This alignment allows the universe to respond to your authentic signal rather than the static of pretense. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment with your journal. Write one feeling you've been hiding, even from yourself. Express it fully, without censorship. Then, place your hand over the words and speak this blessing. I honor this truth within me. In accepting what is, I open the way for what can be. Let the feeling move through you until it naturally dissolves, knowing that emotional honesty is the foundation of true transformation. Chapter 13. Invisible Contracts. In the depths of a garden beneath swaying cypress trees, an elderly woman named Mildred tended to her roses daily, speaking to them with tenderness. Yet, despite her dedicated care and gentle words, the blooms withered mysteriously, as if touched by an unseen force. This pattern extended beyond her garden. Her relationships, too, seemed to wilt just as they began to flourish. One dawn, as she sat in meditation among her dying roses, a truth emerged from the silence. Clear as morning light, she heard the whisper of a vow made long ago. I must struggle to earn love. In that moment, she recognized how this hidden oath had shaped every connection, every opportunity, drawing struggle to her like moths to flame. The universe responds not to our conscious declarations, but to the deep currents of our innermost beliefs. These ancient vows, made in moments of pain or protection, become the invisible architects of our reality. They whisper beneath our thoughts, coloring every creation with their unchanging hue. A humble craftsman named Jean lived in poverty despite his extraordinary skill. His hands could transform wood into objects of beauty, yet wealth eluded him like morning mist. Through inner exploration, he discovered a childhood promise made while watching his father's business fail. I will never risk abundance. This vow, though long forgotten, had become a filter through which the universe organized his reality. Jean understood that awareness alone could dissolve these bonds. In a ceremony of his own making, he stood before his workbench and spoke new words into the silence. I release all vows of limitation. I choose abundance freely given. Within months, his craft began attracting recognition and reward, as if reality itself had been waiting for this permission. These subconscious agreements act as invisible contracts with existence. Until acknowledged and released, they govern the flow of life with unwavering precision. Your current circumstances reflect not your conscious wishes, but these deeper commitments made in forgotten moments. The power lies in recognition and release. As you uncover these hidden vows, you reclaim your authority over creation. Each dissolved agreement opens new channels for manifestation, allowing fresh possibilities to flow unimpeded. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes and envision cords of light extending from your body. These represent your unconscious vows. With each breath, speak these words with growing conviction. I choose freedom over fear. Repeat this 3 times while watching the cords dissolve into pure light. Feel the lightness that remains as these ancient bonds release their hold. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Gift of Desire. In a small mountain village, Lillian spent her days teaching children, suppressing her own dreams beneath layers of dutiful service. From childhood she had learned that wanting was dangerous, a path to disappointment and spiritual corruption. Be content with what you have, the village elders had instructed. And so she dimmed her light year after year, believing virtue lay in the denial of her deepest longings. The universe speaks through the language of desire. When you silence this sacred voice, you interrupt the flow of divine expression seeking to manifest through you. Your wants are not mere personal whims. They are cosmic impulses, the universe dreaming new possibilities into being through your unique consciousness. Each desire carries within it the seed of its own fulfillment. When you honor these sacred promptings, you align with the creative force that shapes worlds. Your role is not to judge or suppress these impulses, but to recognize them as divine inspiration moving through you. Yet many souls, like Lillian, have learned to fear their desires. They mistake spiritual maturity for the absence of wanting, not realizing that pure desire is the universe's way of evolving through human experience. One morning, as Lillian sat in her garden, a realization dawned. Her yearning to write poetry, to travel, to express herself fully, these weren't obstacles to overcome, but divine invitations to expand. The story of Chester, a humble carpenter, mirrors this truth. For years he resisted his vision of building a school, believing ambition to be ego-driven. But when he finally embraced this dream as a sacred assignment, synchronicities aligned. His desire wasn't personal. It was the universe seeking to provide education through his willing hands. Your desires are not random. They are precisely calibrated frequencies, broadcasting the exact signature of experiences meant for your soul's evolution. When you bless, rather than resist them, you open the channel for divine expression. The wisdom lies not in transcending desire, but in recognizing its holy nature. Each authentic wanting is a thread in the universal tapestry, weaving you into the greater pattern of creation. Your role is to listen deeply, trust fully, and allow these sacred promptings to guide you toward your highest expression. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Place your hand gently over your heart, connecting to its steady rhythm. Breathe deeply and ask with reverence, "What do I truly want?" Let the first honest answer arise without judgment. Whether it seems grand or simple, bless this desire as a divine message. Feel gratitude for this sacred communication between you and the universe. This is not an exercise in manifestation, but in recognition, acknowledging the holy nature of authentic desire. Chapter 15. The Magnet of Joy. In a small mountain village, Lillian spent her days teaching children, suppressing her own dreams beneath layers of dutiful service. From childhood, she had learned that wanting was dangerous, a path to disappointment and spiritual corruption. Be content with what you have, the village elders had instructed. And so she dimmed her light, year after year, believing virtue lay in the denial of her deepest longings. Yet the universe works through the pulse of pure desire. Your wanting is not vanity. It is the sacred force of creation seeking expression through you. Those stirrings in your heart, those visions that will not fade despite years of denial, are not random wishes. They are divine blueprints encoded in your soul. When you judge your desires as selfish or unspiritual, you resist the very current that would carry you to your highest destiny. The universe does not speak in the language of limitation. It communicates through the electric charge of inspiration, through the magnetic pull of possibility that makes your spirit soar. Your desires are not separate from your spiritual path. They are the breadcrumbs leading you home to your authentic power. Each genuine wanting carries within it the seed of its own fulfillment. The key lies not in suppressing desire, but in recognizing its sacred origin. This truth came alive through Ruth, a dancer who had forgotten the joy of movement. For years, she pushed herself through rigid training routines, treating her body as an instrument to be mastered rather than a vessel of expression. Her performances grew technical but lifeless. Students dwindled, critics noticed. Yet one evening, alone in her studio, Ruth released all pressure to achieve. She simply moved as her heart led, rediscovering the pure delight of dance. That spontaneous expression shifted everything. A passing filmmaker captured her through the window, mesmerized by her authentic grace. The viral video led to speaking invitations, sold-out workshops, and a revolutionary approach to dance therapy. Without striving, Ruth's career blossomed in ways her previous efforts never achieved. Floyd's story mirrors this principle. His marriage had devolved into a checklist of obligations and corrections. Both partners walked on eggshells, analyzing every word. But when their car broke down during a tense road trip, something cracked. The sheer absurdity of their situation bubbled up, and they found themselves laughing, truly laughing, for the first time in months. That shared joy melted years of distance. They began prioritizing delight over being right, and their connection naturally renewed. These tales reveal a profound truth. Joy is not the reward for manifestation. It is the voltage that powers it. When you choose joy first, reality rearranges itself to match your frequency. The universe responds not to your effort, but to your energy. Sacred practice. Each day, set aside time for one activity that brings you pure, uncomplicated joy. It need not be grand or productive, simply authentic. Perhaps it's dancing in your kitchen, watching clouds drift, or singing off-key. Treat this practice not as an indulgence but as a holy offering. For in those moments of genuine delight, you align with the highest creative force in the universe. Your joy becomes a beacon, calling forth experiences that match its light. Chapter 16. The Law of Non-Resistance. In a valley between ancient mountains, Evelyn lived by the precision of her plans. Each morning began with a detailed schedule, each decision filtered through careful analysis. When life dared to deviate from her designed path, she would grip tighter, marshal more control, build higher walls against uncertainty. Yet, with each attempt to force life into her mold, peace slipped further from her grasp. The universe operates through a wisdom far beyond human planning. Its intelligence flows like water, around obstacles, finding natural pathways, carrying all things toward their perfect expression. When you resist this flow, You create turbulence in the field of infinite possibility. Your struggle against what is becomes the very force that holds your good at bay. One stormy evening, as rain pounded against her windows and wind howled through the trees, Evelyn's carefully constructed world began to crumble. Her business faced unexpected challenges. Her relationships strained under the weight of her rigid expectations. In that moment of crisis, exhausted from fighting, she finally surrendered. "I release my grip," she whispered to the darkness. "I trust in a wisdom greater than my own." In that instant of letting go, something shifted. Solutions appeared from unexpected directions. Opportunities arose that her careful planning could never have conceived. In surrendering control, she discovered a peace that surpassed all protection. This truth echoed in the tale of Leroy, who carried ancient grievances like heavy stones in his heart. For years he nursed his resentments, believing they kept him safe from future harm. But these very defenses became prison walls, blocking the flow of life's abundance. Only when he released his grip on old wounds did fresh possibilities begin to bloom. Your resistance to what is creates the very suffering you seek to avoid. In the gentle art of allowing, you discover a power greater than force, the power of alignment with life's natural current. This is not passive acceptance, but active participation in the dance of creation. The universe invites you now into deeper trust. Breathe deeply and repeat these words: "I flow with what is." Feel the tension melting from your shoulders, the tightness releasing from your chest. Let this breath of surrender ripple through your circumstances, dissolving resistance wherever it lingers. In this space of allowing, witness how life conspires to support your highest good. Chapter 17. The Bridge of Belief. In a small cottage at the edge of a quiet village, Agnes awakened each morning to stiffness in her joints. For years, she had dreamed of vibrant health, yet the magnitude of complete healing seemed beyond her grasp. Each time she attempted to envision perfect wellness, doubt would cloud her mind like morning mist over the meadow. Then one dawn, as she watched a spider weave its web, thread by careful thread, wisdom whispered to her heart. The spider did not question its ability to complete the grand design. It simply secured one strand at a time. The universe speaks in the language of progressive unfoldment. When you reach for a dream that feels too distant, your energy scatters like seeds in a strong wind. But when you align with the next natural step, focusing your faith on what feels within reach, you create a bridge between present limitation and future possibility. Agnes began noting the smallest signs of improvement. Moments when her fingers moved with greater ease, mornings when she woke with slightly less discomfort. With each acknowledgement, her faith grew stronger, like a seedling reaching towards sunlight. She learned to celebrate these subtle shifts as evidence of the universe's responsive nature. This truth echoes through the story of Glenn, a merchant who once doubted his capacity for success. Rather than fixating on distant fortune, he trained his belief like a muscle, starting with small sales targets. Each achieved goal became a foundation for greater confidence, until his faith could hold visions that once seemed impossible. Your belief system operates like a living architecture. Each small success becomes a stepping stone to higher possibilities. When you honor the law of gradual expansion, doubt dissolves naturally, replaced by the quiet certainty born of experience. The universe delights in progressive revelation. It does not demand that you leap from darkness into blazing light, but invites you to adapt to increasing brilliance, one ray at a time. Sacred practice. Before sleep tonight, identify one blessing already manifest in your life, something so natural you might take it for granted. Feel the reality of this evidence. Let it fill you with certainty that the universe knows how to deliver your good. Only then, allow your imagination to reach toward the next step of your desired outcome. This practice builds a bridge of faith between what is and what can be, creating a pathway for greater manifestation to unfold. Chapter 18. Alignment over Hustle. In the bustling heart of commerce, Beatrice moved like a whirlwind through her days. Her calendar overflowed with meetings, her mind raced with deadlines, and her spirit withered beneath endless tasks. Success requires sacrifice, she told herself, pushing harder as exhaustion deepened. Yet with each achievement, fulfillment remained just beyond reach. One evening, her body finally refused to continue. As she lay in complete stillness, too drained even for worry, a profound truth emerged from the quiet. The universe operated with effortless precision. Planets orbited without strain. Flowers bloomed without force. Rivers flowed without struggle. Nature's abundance arose from harmony, not from relentless effort. When Beatrice surrendered her frantic pace, everything shifted. She discovered that clarity flowed naturally in moments of calm. Solutions appeared spontaneously when she stopped forcing them. By aligning with her natural rhythm, she accomplished more in gentle focus than she ever had through desperate striving. The universe responds not to the volume of action, but to the quality of being. When your inner state harmonizes with your intentions, reality rearranges itself with surprising ease. Effort pushes against the natural order. Alignment invites it to cooperate. This is the forgotten wisdom. Achievement flows from essence, not exhaustion. This truth found perfect reflection in Wallace, a seasoned salesman who transformed his approach to success. For years he chased prospects relentlessly, his anxiety about quotas creating resistance in every interaction. Then he discovered a startling secret. When he relaxed into authentic connection, customers naturally gravitated toward him. Wallace stopped performing and started being present. He listened deeply instead of rushing to close. He shared genuine value instead of pushing for sales. As his energy shifted from pursuit to presence, his results multiplied mysteriously. Clients sought him out, referrals flowed freely, and opportunities appeared seemingly from nowhere. His story reveals the paradox at the heart of manifestation. The less you force, the more you receive. When you release the strain of trying, you allow the universe's natural abundance to find you. Sacred practice. At midday, pause your activities completely. Sit quietly and scan your body from head to toe, noticing where tension resides. Breathe deeply into each area of constriction, softening and releasing with each exhale. Feel how letting go creates space for grace to enter. This simple practice realigns you with the effortless flow of universal energy, transforming strain into strength and effort into ease. Chapter 19. The universe speaks in symbols. A gentle breeze rustled through the garden where Goldie sat contemplating her next career move. As doubt crept into her thoughts about leaving her stable position, a pristine white feather drifted down, landing softly at her feet. She smiled, remembering how these delicate messengers had been appearing during moments of uncertainty throughout her life. At first, she dismissed these occurrences as mere coincidence. Yet as she began paying attention, she noticed feathers would appear precisely when her faith wavered. In moments of fear about finances, a feather would rest on her doorstep. When questioning a relationship, one would float past her window. The universe, she realized, spoke not in words but in symbols uniquely meaningful to each soul. The field of creation, ever responsive, mirrors our inner state through physical signs. As Goldie learned to trust these subtle messages, her awareness expanded. She discovered that signs multiplied when acknowledged with gratitude. What began as occasional feathers evolved into an intricate dialogue with the universe itself. Far across the city, Clyde noticed repeating numbers following him everywhere. The time 1111 caught his eye daily. Receipt totals, license plates, and phone numbers echoed the same digits in fascinating patterns. Initially skeptical, he began documenting these occurrences in a small notebook. As patterns emerged, he recognized that certain numbers appeared before specific types of events. The sequence 777 preceded unexpected opportunities, while 333 arrived before important decisions. The universe, he discovered, orchestrated a mathematical symphony of guidance, not through random chance, but through precise spiritual physics. These synchronicities serve as cosmic feedback loops, adjusting our course through gentle nudges and quiet confirmations. They reveal the loving intelligence that orchestrates even the smallest details of existence. When acknowledged, these signs multiply, creating an ongoing conversation between consciousness and creation. Your world teems with living symbols speaking directly to your journey. Each synchronicity arrives as evidence of the universe's constant communication. These signs are not random occurrences, but precisely calibrated responses to your energy, thoughts, and needs. The field remembers every question in your heart. It answers not through dramatic intervention, but through subtle synchronicities perfectly tailored to your understanding. As you attune to this symbolic language, the conversation deepens. What appears coincidental reveals itself as cosmic correspondence. Sacred practice. Keep a small journal by your side throughout the day. When a sign appears, be it a repeating number, animal messenger, or meaningful coincidence, pause to record it. Write down not just what you noticed, but how it made you feel. End each entry with these words: "Thank you for this sacred dialogue." Watch as the signs multiply in response to your conscious participation in this eternal conversation. Chapter 20. The Quantum Command. In a sunlit meadow, Frances stood with eyes closed, visualizing her dream home with perfect detail: the red brick exterior, climbing roses, white picket fence. For months she had practiced this visualization religiously, yet reality remained unchanged. One morning, as frustration mounted, she witnessed a profound truth through nature's mirror. A monarch butterfly landed nearby, completely still yet radiating absolute certainty in its own being. In that moment, Frances understood. The butterfly didn't need to visualize flight. It simply knew its nature as a creature of the air. This knowing was not mental, but a deep embodied truth that required no effort or strain. The universe responds not to pictures in the mind, but to the frequency of unwavering knowing in your cells. When visualization remains merely a mental exercise, it lacks the voltage of certainty required to command reality's response. True creation flows from a state of being where desire and fulfillment are one. Frances began to practice differently. Rather than forcing pictures of what she wanted, she allowed herself to settle into the feeling of already being home. As she relaxed into this emotional coherence, the strain of trying dissolved into quiet authority. Within weeks, synchronicities appeared, a perfect property listing, an unexpected inheritance, divine timing orchestrating what forcing could not achieve. Norman, a fisherman, discovered this same principle when faced with threatening weather at sea. Instead of fearfully visualizing clear skies, he dropped into the calm at his core. From this space of inner stillness, he spoke once to the storm, not as a beggar, but as one unified with the elements themselves. The winds settled, clouds parted, and Norman realized that command comes not through repetition, but through resonance. Your power lies not in perfect mental pictures, but in your capacity to feel the reality you desire as already present. When emotion and intention align in perfect harmony, reality has no choice but to conform to your inner state. This is not the work of forcing or striving, but of allowing yourself to be what you seek. Ancient practice of command. Sit in silence and state your intention once, clearly and simply. Then close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your attention to drop from your head into your heart. Feel the warmth of knowing spread through your body until every cell vibrates with quiet certainty. Continue breathing until all doubt dissolves into pure emotional coherence with your desire. Let go completely, knowing it is already done. The universe requires only this single moment of true alignment to begin its perfect orchestration. Part 3. Becoming the Voice of the Universe. Chapter 21. Conscious Creation in Motion. Through an open window, morning light streams onto weathered floorboards as Edith moves through her home. With practiced motions, she wipes each surface, her cloth traveling in meditative circles. For years, these tasks felt like burdens, endless cycles of dust gathering again the moment she finished. Yet on this day, something shifts in her awareness. As she polishes a mirror, Edith notices how her thoughts flow in harmony with her movements. Another dreary morning of cleaning. She sighs, and the glass remains stubbornly clouded despite her efforts. Then, remembering an ancient teaching, she consciously shifts her inner dialogue. I infuse this home with light and order. Immediately, the mirror begins to shine with unusual brilliance. Throughout the morning, she observes this pattern repeating. When her thoughts turn to lack or limitation while folding laundry, wrinkles seem more stubborn. But when she fills each motion with appreciation, the fabrics fall into perfect order. Every sweep of her broom becomes a blessing. Every dish she washes an affirmation of abundance. The universe responds not to grand gestures, but to the quality of consciousness woven through ordinary moments. Your daily routines are not mere tasks. They are ceremonies of creation. Each thought you think while performing them ripples out into the quantum field, attracting matching circumstances. In the bustling streets of a distant city, Ralph discovers this same truth during his morning commute. For months, traffic jams filled him with frustration, until he transformed his drive into a moving meditation. Instead of cursing red lights, he began blessing fellow travelers. Rather than counting minutes lost, he started counting moments of grace. Within weeks, his route seemed to magically clear. More than that, opportunities began appearing at work, relationships smoothed, and an inexplicable sense of peace surrounded him. He had stumbled upon the secret. Every moment carries the power of prayer when approached with conscious awareness. Your life unfolds through these seemingly minor moments. The energy you bring to washing dishes shapes your prosperity. Your thoughts, while preparing food, program your health. The way you greet each morning designs your future. The sacred does not exist separate from the ordinary. It expresses through it. Every action becomes an altar when approached with loving presence. Your daily routines are not interruptions to manifestation. They are its very substance. Ancient practice. Choose one routine task you perform daily. As you engage in it, bring your full presence to each motion. Feel the water on your hands as you wash dishes, the rhythm of your steps as you walk, the texture of fabric as you dress. Silently repeat with each action, "This too is creation." Let this awareness transform the mundane into the magical, knowing that every moment shapes the field of infinite possibility. Chapter 22. The Transmission of Blessing. In a bustling marketplace, Florence stood behind her small flower cart, watching people hurry past. Each morning she arranged her blooms with care, yet sales remained sparse. One dawn, as golden light kissed the cobblestones, she began a curious practice. As each person passed, she silently blessed them, not for what they might purchase, but for their very existence. "May light fill your path," she would think, watching a mother wrestling with children. "May peace find you today," as an elderly man shuffled past. With each blessing given, something stirred within her own heart. By midday, her flowers seemed to radiate more vibrantly. Within weeks, customers began lingering, drawn not just to her blooms, but to the warmth that emanated from her presence. Her small business flourished, yet the true abundance lay in the joy that now filled her days. The universe operates through an eternal law of circulation. What flows out must flow back, multiplied. Every blessing sent into the world creates ripples in the cosmic field, ripples that inevitably return to their source. This principle transcends mere reciprocity. It reveals the underlying unity of all creation. When you bless another, you activate the infinite current of good that flows through all life. In a quiet neighborhood across town, Melvin grappled with bitter memories of betrayal. His former business partner had stolen his ideas, leaving him with nothing but resentment that poisoned his days. One morning, exhausted by the weight of his anger, he did something radical. He blessed his enemy. "May you find wisdom. May you know peace." At first, the words felt hollow. Yet as he continued, something within him began to soften. The burden he had carried for years began dissolving, replaced by an unexpected lightness. This story illuminates a profound truth. Blessing those who wrong us doesn't excuse their actions. It frees us from the bonds of resentment. The act of blessing transforms the blesser more than the blessed. Your capacity to extend goodwill, especially when challenged, determines your ability to receive life's greater gifts. The blessing you withhold from another remains withheld from yourself. The judgment you harbor becomes a barrier to your own good. But when you bless freely, without condition or expectation, you align with the universe's natural abundance. The ancient practice of silent blessing. For one full day, extend silent blessings to every person you encounter. Whether passing strangers on the street or interacting with loved ones, mentally wish them well. Feel the warmth of goodwill flowing from your heart. Notice how this practice shifts your own inner state and the quality of your experiences. The universe cannot help but respond to one who has become a living blessing. Chapter 23. The Science of Letting Go. Long ago, beneath the whispering willows, Hazel filled her days pursuing love with desperate intensity. Each potential connection became a treasure she clasped too tightly, causing even the most promising bonds to slip through her grasp like water. Her heart ached with longing as she watched others find their perfect match while she remained alone. Night after night, she practiced visualizations and affirmations, yet her determination created an energetic wall that repelled what she sought most. The harder she tried, the more elusive love became. Until one autumn evening, exhausted from yearning, she surrendered her need to control the outcome. In that moment of release, something shifted within the fabric of her reality. The universe responds not to desperate grasping, but to the serene acceptance of what is. When you release your grip on desired outcomes, you create space for infinite possibilities to emerge. This truth echoes through the story of Arnold, a gifted architect who had dreamed of designing sustainable communities. For years, he pursued his ideal position with relentless focus, sending countless applications and making numerous connections. Yet each attempt led to disappointment. One day, while sitting in his garden, Arnold realized that his attachment to this specific dream had become a burden. He spoke to the universe. "I release this desire, trusting that what comes will serve the highest good." Within a week, an unexpected call arrived. A renowned eco-village developer sought his unique vision for a groundbreaking project. Your attachment to outcomes creates resistance in the energetic field. When you cling to specific forms of manifestation, you inadvertently block countless other channels through which abundance might flow. The universe operates through infinite pathways, many beyond your current imagination. Think of your desires as birds in your hands. Held too tightly, they cannot fly. Opened with trust, they soar to their perfect destination. This release isn't abandonment of your dreams. It's supreme faith in the universe's wisdom to deliver what serves your highest good. To practice this ancient art of release, find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Visualize each desire as a glowing lantern. Feel its warmth, acknowledge its beauty, then gradually release it into the vast sky of infinite possibility. Watch as it rises, joining countless other lights in the cosmic dance of manifestation. Trust that the universe guides each lantern to its perfect landing place in its perfect time. This letting go becomes your greatest act of power, for in release you align with the natural flow of universal abundance. What you seek has always been seeking you, waiting for the space that only surrender can create. Chapter 24. Remembering the Infinite Self. In a small coastal town lived Velma, whose identity had become entangled with her roles as mother, wife, and caretaker. Each morning she would gaze into the mirror, seeing only the labels society had placed upon her. Her manifestations remained small, constrained by the limited self she believed herself to be. One dawn, as she walked along the shore, the rising sun cast her shadow across the sand. In that moment, something stirred within her consciousness, a remembrance of vastness beyond her current expression. The ocean's endless horizon whispered an ancient truth. She was not merely the roles she played, but the infinite consciousness expressing through them. This awakening transformed her vibration. No longer did she approach life from a place of lack, hoping to become enough. Instead, she moved through her days emanating the truth of her divine nature. Her manifestations expanded naturally, flowing from this expanded state of being. The universe responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. When you remember your divine nature, you naturally attract experiences that match this elevated frequency. Your outer world must reshape itself to mirror your inner knowing. This truth echoes through the story of Stanley, a successful businessman who lost everything in a market crash. His identity, built upon external achievements, crumbled. Yet in this apparent devastation, he discovered something invaluable. His inherent worth existed independently of his circumstances. In the depths of his darkest night, Stanley touched the unchanging essence within. He realized that his true nature remained untouched by gain or loss. From this recognition, he rebuilt his life not from desperate striving, but from the quiet power of remembrance. You are not the seeker you believe yourself to be. You are the very thing you seek. All spiritual paths lead to this simple yet revolutionary truth. When you remember this, manifestation transforms from an effort to receive into a natural expression of what you already are. The universe cannot give you what you already possess. It can only reflect back your own recognition or forgetfulness of this truth. Your task is not to become something new, but to remember what you have always been. Place your hand over your heart center. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. This is not merely physical heat, but the fire of your own divinity. Speak these words with the authority of recognition. I am that which I seek. Let each repetition sink deeper, awakening the dormant knowing within. Continue until you feel an inner warmth spread through your being. This is the remembrance of your true nature dawning. In this state of divine remembrance, you no longer manifest from desperation, but from the natural overflow of your own completeness. The universe responds not to your seeking, but to your knowing. Let this truth transform every breath into a declaration of your inherent wholeness. Chapter 25. Harmony with Chaos. In a small coastal town, Dorothy tended her garden with love each morning until the day the letter arrived. Her company was relocating across the country. Within weeks, her carefully cultivated life transformed into boxes and goodbyes. Each morning brought fresh waves of uncertainty as she navigated unfamiliar streets in a new city, surrounded by strange faces and unknown rhythms. Yet in this upheaval, something extraordinary unfolded. As external securities fell away, Dorothy discovered an unwavering center within herself. The more her outer world spun into chaos, the deeper she anchored into an inexplicable stillness. Through sleepless nights and lonely days, she began to sense a presence, vast and unchanging, beneath the surface of her anxious thoughts. This reveals nature's most profound teaching. Chaos serves as the universe's accelerated classroom. When familiar foundations dissolve, we are compelled to find our true foundation, that which cannot be shaken by circumstance. Your external world may tremble, but your inner knowing stands unmoved. Consider the experience of Clinton, who built his fortune over decades only to watch it vanish in a market crash. Rather than crumbling with his assets, he discovered something remarkable, a space of serenity that transcended his bank balance. From this newfound stillness, he rebuilt not through frantic action, but through aligned inspiration. His wealth returned threefold, yet he no longer identified with it. The true treasure was the unshakable peace he had found. The universe speaks through turbulence. When your carefully constructed plans dissolve, when change sweeps through like a storm, remember, you are not the weather. You are the sky through which it passes. External chaos cannot touch your essential nature unless you believe yourself to be the storm rather than its witness. This truth unveils itself. Stability flows not from controlling circumstances, but from anchoring in the eye of life's hurricanes. The more you resist chaos, the more it persists. The moment you find stillness within it, order naturally emerges. Your inner stability becomes a magnet, attracting outer harmony. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Imagine yourself in the midst of a mighty cyclone, winds of change howling around you. Feel the force of uncertainty, the pull of fear. Now, bringing awareness to your breath, begin to notice the absolute stillness at your core. With each breath, sink deeper into this center point. Let the storms rage while you rest in unwavering peace. This is your true nature, the eye of every storm, the stillness from which all stability flows. Continue this practice daily, especially when life seems most turbulent. Remember, chaos is not your enemy, but your teacher, revealing the unshakable truth of who you are. Chapter 26. The Sacred Currency of Attention. In a tranquil valley, Marion walked her garden path each morning, stopping to tend her favorite roses. Yet lately, a persistent worry about her son's illness consumed her thoughts. The more she dwelled on his condition, the more her beloved garden withered. Even her cherished roses, once vibrant with life, began losing their luster. One dawn, as morning dew kissed the petals, Marion noticed something peculiar. The roses nearest to where she stopped to fret had grown pale and listless, while those by the bench where she occasionally paused to count her blessings flourished with remarkable vigor. In that moment, she understood. Her attention was a form of nourishment, feeding whatever it touched. Your attention carries the power of creation itself. Like sunlight falling upon fertile soil, it awakens and energizes whatever it touches. When you fixate upon problems, you unconsciously withdraw energy from your blessings. Each worried thought acts as a shadow, dimming the radiance of potential prosperity lying dormant within your field of experience. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you consistently feed with your awareness. Your focus is an investment of life force, multiplying whatever captures it. This principle operates with absolute precision. Whether you direct your attention toward lack or abundance, struggle or ease, the universe must return more of the same. In the bustling streets of a merchant district, Orville managed his family's trading business. Daily ledgers showed mounting debts, and his mind grew heavy with financial concerns. Each morning he would count his losses before counting his blessings, until an old wisdom stirred within him. He began a new practice. For every challenge that arose, he deliberately shifted his gaze to 3 possibilities for growth. Where he once saw only scarcity, he trained his eyes to search for abundance. Within months, new opportunities emerged as if by magic, though the real magic lay in his transformed perception. When you find yourself caught in spirals of worry, remember, attention is the currency of manifestation. Every thought is an investment in a particular version of reality. Choose wisely where you place this precious resource. Sacred practice. As thoughts of concern arise throughout your day, pause and immediately name one aspect of life that brings you joy. Let this become your spiritual discipline, transforming each worry into an opportunity for gratitude. Through this practice, you reclaim the power of your focus, redirecting it from what depletes you to what fulfills you. Chapter 27. Embodying the Future Now. High in the mountains, a woman named Loretta spent her days dreaming of a life beyond her small village. Each morning she would gaze at the distant horizon, telling herself, "When I finally leave this place, then I'll truly begin to live." She created endless plans and preparations, always waiting for the perfect moment to embrace joy. Yet that moment never seemed to arrive. The universe speaks through vibration, not through time. What you seek already exists within the field of infinite possibility. Your task is not to wait for its arrival, but to match its frequency now. When you postpone your happiness until some future event, you emit the frequency of lack, and lack must then persist. Loretta continued postponing her joy until an old sage shared a simple truth. The universe cannot deliver happiness to one who refuses to be happy now. This wisdom struck her deeply. She realized that freedom was not a destination, but a state of being. That very day, she began walking differently, speaking differently, breathing as though she already lived her dream. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities arose, as though reality itself had been waiting for her inner shift. In a distant city, a man named Dewey faced similar lessons. After years of struggling in his craft, he decided to conduct an experiment. Instead of working toward success, he chose to live as though success had already arrived. He dressed, spoke, and carried himself with the quiet confidence of one who had already achieved his dreams. He treated each small task as though it held profound significance. The shift was subtle, yet powerful. His colleagues began responding differently. New connections appeared effortlessly. Opportunities that had seemed distant suddenly manifested with ease. The universe, ever faithful to its laws, simply reflected back the certainty he now embodied. This ancient truth reveals itself. The outer world must conform to your inner state of being. Time is not a barrier to your desires. It is merely the space between your current vibration and the frequency of your dreams. When you match the vibration of your desire now, time bends to accommodate your alignment. Sacred practice. Select one daily activity, perhaps preparing breakfast, walking to work, or even washing dishes. As you perform this task, fully embody your desired state of being. Feel the gratitude, joy, and fulfillment as though your dreams have already manifested. Let every movement flow from this place of completion. Maintain this practice for at least 5 minutes, allowing your entire body to resonate with the feeling of already being, doing, or having what you desire. This is not pretense. It is energetic alignment with what already exists in the quantum field. Chapter 28. The Divine Hologram. In a bustling marketplace, Phyllis stood behind her flower stall, watching the passing faces with growing awareness. Each day brought the same faces, some kind, others harsh, some rushing past without a glance, others lingering to share stories. At first, she saw them as separate beings, each carrying their own destiny. But one morning, something shifted in her perception. A woman approached, radiating criticism about the wilted edges of some roses. In that moment, Phyllis recognized her own inner critic reflected in the customer's words. Later, a man smiled warmly at her simple bouquets, and she felt her own joy of beauty mirrored in his eyes. Person after person, she began to see how each interaction perfectly matched her inner state. The universe operates as one unified field of consciousness. What appears as separation is an illusion born of limited perception. Every person you encounter serves as a living mirror, reflecting back the precise frequency you hold within. This is not metaphor but cosmic law, the holographic principle where each fragment contains the pattern of the whole. When you judge another, you judge a part of yourself. When you bless another, you elevate your own vibration. There is no escape from this mirror, for it operates with mathematical precision. Your relationships exist not as separate connections, but as reflections of your relationship with the infinite self. Consider Raymond, who discovered this truth through a fractured friendship. For months, he harbored resentment toward his closest friend, seeing only betrayal and distance. But in a moment of clarity, he realized his friend's actions reflected his own fear of intimacy. Instead of trying to change his friend, Raymond turned inward. As he softened his self-judgment mysteriously, his friend's behavior transformed. Without a word exchanged, the friendship healed itself through Raymond's inner shift. This reveals the supreme power you hold, the ability to transform any relationship through inner adjustment. When you alter your vibration, the entire hologram shifts to match it. There is no need to convince, persuade, or change others. Your only task is to align your inner frequency with truth. The external world has no choice but to reflect your consciousness. This is the law of unified creation. Each person in your life serves as a precise gauge of your inner state. They cannot show you what you do not hold within, and they cannot hide what you have awakened to recognize. Sacred practice. Choose one relationship that brings discomfort. Sit quietly and bring this person's image to mind. Without trying to change anything external, begin blessing them silently. Continue until you feel the rigid story you've held begin to soften. In this softening lies the seed of transformation, not just for one relationship, but for your entire field of experience. The mirror never lies, but it always responds to the light you shine upon it. Chapter 29. The Infinite Return. In the heart of summer, Bernice tended her orchard with clenched fists. Each apple seemed precious, each pear a treasure to guard. She counted and recounted her harvest, fretting over bruised fruit and calculating expected profits. When neighbors passed by hoping to purchase her bounty, she quoted prices just high enough to send them away. "These trees are my security," she whispered to herself, storing more than she could possibly use. As autumn approached, she watched helplessly as excess fruit rotted on her shelves. The waste weighed on her conscience until one morning, gazing at her overflowing storehouse, understanding dawned. With trembling hands, she began filling baskets, carrying them to her neighbors' doorsteps. To her amazement, they returned with bread, honey, and handcrafted goods. The more freely she gave, the more abundance flowed back to her. The universal flow moves in perfect circulation. Like breath itself, life demands both giving and receiving. When you grasp too tightly, you interrupt this sacred current. The universe operates through exchange, an eternal dance of release and return. Every gift offered with an open heart multiplies, for generosity aligns you with the natural law of increase. Consider the ocean. It gives its waters to the sky, trusting in the return of rain. Think of the soil, which yields its nutrients to the seed, receiving new life in exchange. This is not mere poetry, but the fundamental physics of existence. The universe abhors a vacuum. What you release creates space for greater blessings to enter. In a distant village, Milton faced mounting debts that threatened to overwhelm him. Yet even in his scarcity, he shared his time helping elderly neighbors with their gardens and teaching children to read. He gave not from his wallet, but from his heart. One morning, a grateful parent, a banker, offered him work that not only cleared his debts, but opened doors to prosperity he never imagined. Your current circumstances may whisper of limitation, but they speak only of temporary conditions, not eternal law. Each act of giving, whether of time, attention, or material resources, declares your trust in unlimited supply. This trust itself becomes the channel through which abundance flows. Sacred practice. Choose something precious to give, perhaps your time, your skills, or a treasured possession. Give it freely, with no expectation of return. Feel not the pang of loss, but the joy of participating in life's great circulation. As you release your gift into the world, whisper softly, "I trust in the eternal flow of abundance." Notice how this act of giving transforms your relationship with receiving. Chapter 30. The universe within obeys. In a simple garden overflowing with autumn's bounty, Bernice held tight to every fruit, guarding her harvest with anxious devotion. Each apple and pear became a treasure to hoard, her mind fixed upon scarcity even amid abundance. When neighbors inquired about purchasing her excess, she quoted prices just high enough to turn them away. "These trees are my security," she whispered, storing far more than she could use. As the season progressed, nature taught its timeless lesson. The fruit she desperately clung to began to spoil. In her despair, she finally opened her storehouse, sharing freely with all who passed. To her amazement, this act of release triggered an avalanche of reciprocity. Those who received her gifts returned with homemade pies, jams, and heartfelt gratitude. More significantly, they brought seeds from their own gardens, expanding her orchard's variety beyond imagination. The universal law revealed itself through this sacred exchange. What flows out returns multiplied. The tighter we grasp, the more life slips through our fingers. Yet when we participate in the eternal circulation of giving, we align with the very current that sustains creation. Milton, a craftsman in a distant village, discovered this same truth through different circumstances. Each morning, he left his workshop door open, offering his skills freely to travelers in need of repairs. He mended broken tools without expectation, fixed strangers' wagons without demanding payment. Some called him foolish, warning that such generosity would lead to ruin. Yet the universe operates through invisible mathematics. As Milton's reputation for kindness spread, prosperous merchants sought his craftsmanship, paying handsomely for his expertise. When unexpected debts threatened to overwhelm him, former recipients of his generosity emerged from nowhere, bearing gifts that precisely met his needs. The more he gave, the more abundance flowed through his life. This law of infinite return governs all energy in the universe. Every genuine gift sets in motion ripples of reciprocity that eventually circle back to their source. But the key lies in the purity of intention. Giving must spring from joy rather than calculation, from love rather than obligation. The practice: choose something precious, your time, attention, creativity, or material resources. Give it freely today, without expectation of return. As you release your gift into the world, feel the warmth of knowing you've contributed to life's eternal circulation. Trust that your offering joins the infinite stream of giving and receiving that sustains all creation. Remember, the universe matches not the size of your gift, but the love with which you give it. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Throughout these chapters, a profound truth has crystallized within your awareness. The universe operates not through external intervention, but through the living current of your own consciousness. The power you sought in distant realms has always resided in the sacred chamber of your own being. The ancient mystics whispered of this knowledge, yet its simplicity remained hidden beneath layers of complexity. Now you understand. Manifestation flows not from effort, but from recognition. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are not mere responses to reality. They are the very substance from which reality emerges. When you grasp this fundamental unity between self and source, the need for cosmic negotiation dissolves. You no longer petition an outside force, for you have remembered that you are the force itself in individualized expression. Your consciousness is the universe knowing itself through human form. This is why alignment supersedes action, why being precedes doing. Each vibration you hold becomes law in motion. Each feeling transforms into circumstance with mathematical precision. The universe mirrors not what you want, but what you are. In this awakening, you recognize that manifestation is not about mastering an external power. It is about remembering your intrinsic nature as that power individualized. When thought, emotion, and belief harmonize within you, reality has no choice but to conform, for it is merely the outer expression of your inner state. You need not command the universe any more than a wave needs to command the ocean. You are not separate from the creative force. You are its living embodiment, its conscious expression. In this recognition, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing, as inevitable as the dawn. The so-called forbidden knowledge reveals itself. There is no distance between creator and creation. They are one movement, one dance, one eternal unfolding.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.